The Kentucky and Indiana, the Ohio and Indiana Bar Associations require we give the names and addresses of the attorneys on the show. So here we go. We have John Norwine, Executive Director at the Cincinnati Bar Association. You'll find him at 225 East 6th Street, 45202. Don Moore, of course, at the Moore Law Firm on Nimitzview Drive, Cincinnati, 45230, or moorelaw.com. Of course, you can get all that information by going to Fox19.com and clicking on the Moore Law tab. Welcome back. We want to get right to the phones right now. We have a question from Barbara in Cincinnati. Barbara, I understand you have a question about your son. Is that right?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
My son is interested in geology and in the law, so he wants to combine and do and become an environmental lawyer. And I wanted to find out, are there any environmental lawyers in the city that he may be able to shadow? And what is the what kind of career outlook would an environmental lawyer have?
Sure.
I think an environmental lawyer has a great outlook right now. It's one of those areas that's growing. Yeah, there's a need for environmental lawyers. Again, you go to a good law school if you have the right background. When you get out, and as an environmental law, you can find a position. And frankly, if you or your son want to call me at the Cincinnati Bar Association, I'll find an environmental lawyer for you to shadow, or for him to shadow. It won't be a difficult thing. Be happy to do this for you. Please call me at Barbara at the Cincinnati Bar Association.
What a great background for environmental law to have a geology degree. You don't see that very often, do you?
No, a lot of environmental lawyers do have engineering backgrounds. They have that basically, they go and get their major in that, and then law school, the whole time they're pointing toward practicing in that area, and they're the people who are going to have jobs in a few years, unlike some of the others.
Right. It's such a commitment, though. You know, what made you decide this is the field I'm going after?
Well, this was for me. Obviously, there's a family connection. I'm the third generation in my family who've gone into practicing law, but there are some other things that keep me practicing law. I have a passion for it, and what I get to do is represent people at the worst time in their lives who deserve to recover from someone else who caused their problem. And I have a picture of one of the ones that I thought was just a great story. Gary Tomlin was a veteran of the Vietnam War. He was injured there. He helped other veterans working for the disabled American veterans, hauling them to VA hospital and doing other things. He was a farmer. And he was killed because an electrical company chose to neglect their overhead electrical lines and basically let the supports rot off and the lines fall down. They just decided not to inspect, which was contrary to the rules by the PUCO. Gary left Connie and 2 kids and a grandchild and of course future grandchildren, and what I got to do was make a difference in their life. I got to represent them, and I got to actually improve the electrical maintenance for that particular company, because when they had to pay money out to the widow and to the family, they understood paying money and they straightened up their maintenance system. So that, for me, that's really rewarding when you get to do that. The lady that just called a minute ago talking about her son wanting to go into geology and environmental law, I hope that he can have the same passion for what he does because he's interested in the subject matter in the first place.
When you talk about it like that, you know, you have such a passion for it, and you've told me so many stories about the people that you represent. So then why do lawyers get such a bad rap?
Well, I think sometimes they make great whipping boys. When people do bad things, especially moneyed groups, they do bad things and they want to look for somebody to blame. Well, let's blame the lawyers, because lawyers are always complaining about something.
And you all get lumped in together like that. Why is that?
I think because it's convenient. John, what do you think about that?
No, I think that sometimes you have to take up the unpopular cause. There are a lot of attorneys who have supported the Ku Klux Klan in putting up a cross or doing certain things that hate doing that, but want to believe the Constitution allows to do that. So when you're the point person in something like that, you are not going to be very popular with the public.
There is an aspect of practice of law that is actually noble, and that is sometimes we have to do things that we don't particularly care for because we're supporting the Constitution that we pledge to support. And it is not a matter of being dishonest or sneaky. It is a matter of doing what we're professionally obligated to do. And one of the things that we haven't talked about today is the Bar Association closely monitors that And if they have lawyers who aren't doing what they're supposed to do professionally, they take them to task. It's actually the Cincinnati Bar Association versus a particular lawyer if they're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Is that hard for you to do? You mentioned that you know so many attorneys. Yeah. Is that a tough thing for you?
It's very difficult. In fact, it's probably the point or the part of my position that I like the least. But it's necessary. We get a lot of people who call in and they're upset, but they may be mad because the judge sentenced their brother to too many years in prison, or something didn't happen when they were getting a divorce that they thought should happen. These are things that probably we can't do anything about, but if you're really having a problem with your lawyer, then we will talk to you, and we'll see what we can do. We'll help you and hopefully help the attorney out also.
Okay. And so it's nothing like I see on television, is it? When they go into the courtroom and...
It is almost never that entertaining as you see on television. There's an entertainment value that you have to sell a TV show that you don't have to have necessarily in court. Now, there's some attorneys that are a little more entertaining than others, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're a better attorney or that they're the one that you should be hiring. You want to hire somebody who you think best represents you.
And we talked earlier, but it's not a matter of going to the phone book. I mean, people really, you need to do some research on exactly who is going to be representing you.
You need to do some research, and I think one of the best ways to find an attorney is to ask a friend, a neighbor, a relative, have you used someone? Were you happy? Did this work out well for you? The Bar Association has several avenues. We have an online advertising service that gives a profile of attorneys. We can refer you directly to an attorney. There are a lot of different things that you can do, and we can help you.
All right, John, thanks so much for joining us
Thanks,
today.
Deb. Don, thank you.
Yep. Thanks for being here, John. Next week, Steve Adams, DUI lawyer, former prosecutor.
Friend of mine. Please join us again next Monday morning at 9:30. We'll see you here on More Law then. Have a great week.